Hey everybody. So this is Deborah Jean, aka Buff Cake 22. And um, so I do check-ins with clients on Fridays, and sometimes I get a client that I'm doing a voice note for when I reply to their check-in, kind of explaining what troubleshooting and what's going on. And I come across some things that would likely be applicable to more people than just my client. Oftentimes, truthfully, things resonate even with myself. And that's one of the things I love about coaching is the experience that I get that helps me learn for my clients and helps me learn for myself. And so today I don't know if I'm going to be doing this regularly, but it's something that I've thought of a couple of times, like, oh, I wish more people could have heard that voice note. Definitely was personal to my client, but what I thought was I would play a little bit of that. So this could be a super boring video. It might be helpful, which would be awesome, but but I wanted to share. And if it's something that is helpful for you, um, normally I would say I'm going to redo or say over in a video what I had said to my client. But when it's very impromptu when I'm going over stuff with my clients. And a lot of times I can't repeat things. Sometimes I can do them more eloquently and sometimes less, but I don't want to miss anything. And I feel like it's very genuine and in the moment. And so I'm going to share this um, voice note that I had with my client, and kind of I'll stop it and do a little bit of explanation. But so when my clients do their check-ins, normally when I had my website up, I had a check-in button, and I'm not exactly sure how many questions there are, maybe 30 that they have to answer in order to have an adequate check-in. And I had put this together just because otherwise I wasn't getting enough information to be able to understand like how they're doing on their program. So this question was number 23. Nope, it was, sorry. Okay, it's number 20. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being famished, 5 being comfortable until the next meal, and 10 being overstuffed, how do you feel with your foods on your active days? And she said, no hunger, but I do feel unsatisfied, but not sure what I want to eat. I have a hot tea when I feel like this, and it helps. So I'm going to pause a minute and go. Okay, so as boring as this is,
this is kind of a stretch, but I'm going to go back to, so I don't know if you ever watched the TV series Dexter, but I like serial killer type stuff more because of human behavior. But anyways, just go with me on this. So there is an episode where his dad catches him on the roof of a building, and he like pulls him off, and he's like this, he finds out like he's like a sociopath, and he's like, you don't want to kill yourself. And he's like, I'm not trying to kill myself. He said, I'm trying to feel something. And so he's like, because he's on top of the building, the wind is blowing, and he's like maybe going to get blown off, but maybe not. And so his dad pulls him back. So what I know from personal experience is when I'm on a diet and I'm finding myself looking through the kitchen, or not, like you go to the kitchen, you look in the cupboards. What you're looking for is a feeling. And sometimes even we find things that we eat that maybe throw us off our diet, or, essentially what happens is we eat something maybe that it's too much, or it's not in our diet, or something that is going to cause a feeling usually of guilt, like, oh, I ruined this day, I shouldn't have eaten that. And we do it in order to feel something because at the time, like you said, you feel unsatisfied, like you're unsure, and there's something missing. Knowing that no food is going to create happiness for you when you're looking for that, usually the feeling that is going to come about is something that is more negative, because You know, how many times have you found, like, you've never found a food that is like, oh, now I feel happy. Like, that's what I needed. So that's just something to think about. When you have those types of moments, I always go to first doing some breathing exercises, because you might be stressed, you might have some anxiety, you're not really sure. And that calms you down. So now you're in the logical part of your brain rather than the emotional part of your brain. And then you're able to logically think about what is causing this feeling. If you can understand that, yes, the hot tea does actually make you feel something because it's warm. You know, there's something to be said about temperature foods when you are dieting, because they add a little bit of more of substance, because they're not just, it's not just a flavor hitting the taste buds, but there's also an emotion of heat or ice that is added to that. But try to figure out where this dissatisfaction is coming from. Maybe you're bored. Maybe you're stressed. Finding the source of what is causing the emotion, and then, you know, our natural behavior as emotional eaters is to eat to try to distract or numb this feeling. So I don't think that the tea is a bad idea at all. It probably helps to relax and get in touch with that emotion.
One thing that I want to add here too is a lot of times we associate food with feelings. So we're trying to get a feeling out of that. And where emotional eating comes into play is just, this is your normal, what you're feeling, and you want to feel happier. And food does create this serotonin. So that's why we go to it. It is very similar to a drug. So the problem is, it just like any drug, you cannot get that first high that you get from some type of situation where, like you had, I think I used Cheesecake Factory in this. Like you had the best cheesecake. You can't create that high again. You can't recreate the same experience over again. And we try to do that doing, it's kind of like, I heard this analogy before too. If you had an awesome first date with somebody, no matter what, if you did everything exactly the same, it wouldn't be the same, because it was a first time experience. You can't recreate an experience and try to get that same emotion back. And so what we end up doing is eating more. Maybe this food will make me feel better. Maybe this food will make me feel better. But anyways, obviously that's not the solution. So,
But I would like you to focus on one, every time understand, I'm not looking for a food. I'm not hungry right now. You know, especially if you are on track with your meals. And this is something that was really important to me, that Missy Truscott had said when I interviewed her. When she said, you know, my period is coming, or if I'm having a craving, she said, one of the main things I try to remember is I haven't even had all my meals yet. So even if it's not time for your next meal and you think like maybe you're hungry or it's food that you're needing, I would say go ahead and eat your next meal, just to make sure that you are covering your bases as far as hunger goes. You know, and then at the end of the day might be that time for you to say, okay, I've had all my meals. I know I'm not hungry. What am I feeling right now? And that's where just centering yourself and journaling comes into play as being something that's really good. And it could actually make you understand like what's going on. Like maybe you're stressed about stuff you have to do tomorrow. That's usually my thing. I get stressed about something before I do it, and then afterwards, I'm fine. So it's a matter of getting through that what if part of it and actually doing what needs to be done. So writing down maybe what you have to do tomorrow, linking times to that so that you make sure you get everything done. Try to figure out what it is that's causing this unsettling, and just promise yourself that, because you know
Food's not
since
the
you know
answer.
food is not the answer to create an emotion. And if I try to create an emotion with food, I will likely create a negative emotion.
And this is another thing too. Obviously, we don't want to correlate negative emotions with food, but when we're trying to use food to elicit a positive emotion, there we know that's not what we are supposed to be doing. That's not what food is for, and that it's temporary. So even if you do feel good for a little while, which is what a lot of, binge eaters or emotional eaters struggle with, it's like, well, it makes me feel good for a little bit, and then it's followed by this shame. The idea is to figure out what the feeling is to start with, not to involve food, at all. Because it's not to say that we can't associate food with good feelings and, happy events. I mean, birthdays, Christmas, a lot of that has food associated with it, but it shouldn't be, that's not why the event is happy. It's happy because it's an event and the food is also there. So it's a no-win when you're trying to use food to create an emotion, because you have to figure out what the problem is in the first place and figure out where, you can find your happiness and your joy.
Emotion. If I'm really not hungry, then I need to figure out what's going on. So that's what I thought of when I saw about this. I feel unsatisfied, but I'm not sure what I want to eat. So there is no food that is going to satisfy. And let's say it was like a piece of cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
There's always the and then what. This is a temporary emotional fix to whatever the problem is. And I want to make sure that you can cognitively, logically figure out what is troubling you and disassociate the feelings from the food. So anyways, okay. And then as far as progress goes,
okay, so the second part was about progress, and she had been focused on the scale as progress. She lost, and I will go over this in the voice note a little bit if you don't mind listening. But essentially, what I wanted to reiterate here that wasn't totally said was that there are many ways to measure progress, and the scale is probably the least important of them because it is a side effect of the behavior change, what we're going for here. So she was upset because this is the second week in a row that her scale weight hasn't changed, and variables had been changed throughout the week by her. And so, she had a cheat meal prior, which usually isn't that big of a deal, depending on how big the cheat meal is. But what I had told her was to focus on other measures of progress. And the ultimate one, which made me super duper happy, was that she said that her lifts were going, she had great energy for her lifts in the gym, and she was getting, or at home, but she's getting stronger with each one, so she's progressing with her lifts. And the key word here is progressing. If not progressing with the scale, doesn't mean you're not progressing. It just means that there's not a change showing up on the scale. But if you're focused on behavior change and getting stronger in the gym, which is what I had said to her, this is a huge measure of progress. This is exactly what we want, because the problems come along when I don't have energy for my lifts. I don't have energy for my day. Now we're not recovering. Now we're delving into like, why are you fatigued? Why, like, now this is when we need to take a step back because we're pushing. But when you have gas for the project, then you need to, step on the gas. Like, things are going great. This is exactly what we're looking for. Okay, so I'm gonna read some of this.
Progress doesn't feel as good as in the previous weeks. So progress will usually at first, with someone who has a little bit more weight to lose, be very quick. So you could lose
Progress on the
5,
scale.
6, 7 pounds in the first week. You could lose 3 or 4 in the second week, and then it will go down to 2 or 1 or half a pound, just depending. This is good. At the beginning, a lot of that is water weight, just getting into more of a clean food regimen, getting more water and everything else. It levels out, and that's what we want to happen, because faster weight loss is not conducive to retaining lean tissue. So you're going to end up losing muscle as well as body fat, and if it happens too quickly. So we definitely don't want that. But, you know, for you, about a pound a week is what we're looking for. Maybe 2 pounds, maybe half a pound, and it will kind of depend too on how closely you stick to your diet regimen and, you know, hormones, menstrual cycle, salt, sleep, all those things. So sleep is good for you. You've been doing great with your water. The fact that you are feeling really good and strong for your workouts is really what I want you to focus on, because that is, again, for someone who is searching for feeling and confirmation that you're on the right track, you're going to find that in your workouts. So I love that you're getting stronger in your lifts. You have the absolute right idea of looking at each session as an opportunity to increase weight or increase reps and just getting stronger. So, I mean, obviously make sure that you're not compromising your form or cheating your form in order to try to beat that logbook. But if all variables are the same as far as time and tempo and effort in your lifts, if they're continuing to increase, then we are definitely on the right track. And I think that should be your main focus, because in doing that, the body will change. The changes that happen in your physique are a side effect of the workout. So if your focus is on improving the workout, the changes will happen in the body. And remember, it's been 5 weeks, and, you know, basically we have committed to a year. And a year on track is going to be a huge change in your physique, because all of these behaviors are going to become established. You're going to be learning how to live, and you're going to be creating this new body the whole time. So, so I think that you're doing awesome. Don't discount your achievements, and absolutely focus on these positives. You know, even the fact that you aren't binging, when you said you're feeling dissatisfied, that you have a tea, this is going to help center you and keep you from this type of erratic behavior that emotional eating often is. So I think you need to congratulate yourself, because you're doing really, really good. All right, last thing. So as far as, yes, it's tax season and you're probably sitting on your butt more.
It's important.
I would say let's start keeping track of your daily step count again. Mm-hmm. I know that you have only 2 cardio sessions, and maybe we need to add more to that depending on what your daily steps look like. I know I have your initial step chart. Let's see if things have decreased a little bit, and then we can assess things from there. Maybe like.
So this is something that's really important, and I probably will do a video about sometime, but activity levels tend to change when you are in a diet. And also, she's a tax preparer and she's been working more. So she has been spending less time running around with like her kids and stuff like that. So when the body is dieting, it is so smart and is really, really trying to conserve energy and preserve, you know, this homeostatic state of being. And so, you know, and it's the same thing too with like a lot of people within reason. If you overeat a meal, the next day you tend to not just, you have more energy. Food is energy. So you might be fidgeting more, you might have more energy for other daily activity. In the same respect, for dieting for days and days and days, being in a caloric deficit, the body's like, okay, this is a time that we're trying to preserve our energy. So you automatically will move less. Look at contest prep dieters towards the end of their prep. They save all their energy for going to the gym, and a lot of naps, a lot of laying around, just waiting, for the next meal, just waiting, for till they have to do their cardio session or whatever. So the body will, whether you're conscious of it or not, try to preserve energy. This is your so measuring steps is a great way of tracking this neat non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And even though steps can be intentional, or things that you put in there as intention, like I'm going to park further away because I know I've been in a deficit, I know I've been moving less, I have to make up for this somehow, I'm not fidgeting as much, so on and so on. You probably won't notice, but the step tracker will keep sort of a account of your activity. And with this client, the first week I had her do it, I don't like to overwhelm people with all these numbers and all this tracking, but it gives me a good idea of their activity level and how much cardio that we need to prescribe. So with her, I don't even remember now what her step count was. Probably between 5,000 and 7,000 a day for the most part, which is a good moderately active type person. Anything under 3,000 is pretty sedentary. If you're over 10K, that's quite a lot. So what we had was, she had 2 days that she was doing cardio post workout for 30 minutes. She has a rower at home and a bike, and I think she had decided the bike was going to be the best one. But then a friend of hers had started a drumming class, so she was going to substitute one of her cardio sessions with this drumming class, which I thought was really, really great. So again, this is not a contest prep client. This is why I'm using this as an example. This is your everyday person who is just, trying to lose body fat. So anyways, what I ended up telling her was she had said she was doing had done an outdoor walk. And I think they still live where it's snow and stuff too, but she said she loves it. And so what we had decided was she was going to do a daily outdoor walk, just because we are recognizing that she probably isn't having enough steps. With that, with her next check-in, so she's going to do a step tracker every day for the week, this next upcoming week, and also do daily walks. And she's going to tell me how many daily walks she did for how many minutes, and we're going to add that on so I can figure out. I don't have to have her track 1 week and then add daily walks the next week. No, we're going to get this. And I had said, let's try to expedite this, meaning that could also be a reason why the scale was the same from 1 week to the next, is because she stuck to her diet, she did everything right, but if that activity level drops that is normally there, then you got to make up for it somehow. So that was kind of the next step. Okay, so here's my
just remember that
summary.
the scale is only one measure of progress. You did have a pretty extensive cheat meal, which I think you enjoyed, and that is awesome. And it's just going to be a process, and it's going to take time. So keep trusting that process. Keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're doing a great job with swaps. You're doing a great job taking a step back and making good choices and focusing on your behaviors. And mentally, you're in a really good place. So congratulate yourself on those things, and we'll just keep moving forward. But I think we can add, if you are able to do outside walks, we can definitely add that in. I think daily, that is a fantastic idea. It'll help clear some of your stress as well. Mm-hmm. And don't focus so much on the scale. It is only one measure. I looked at your pictures from last week. I do think that I can see the slightest progress, even though the scale weight is the same. And so just remember that. I think a lot of times, like right now, I'm dieting as well, and I had committed to 15 weeks, and I have lost basically about a pound every week so far since I started. But I tell myself 15 pounds in 15 weeks. If in 15 weeks I am down 15 pounds, even if I'm down 10 pounds in 15 weeks, then, I mean, seriously, how can I be upset about that? So from one week to the next, you're going to be like, oh, 1 pound, oh, half a pound, this sucks. But if you go, oh, you know what, if I just commit to this, at least for these 15 weeks in this deficit with these occasional cheat meals, being able to swap foods, I'm really learning how to live, aren't I? I'm really managing my emotions. I'm really focusing on my behavior, and I'm going to reach my goals. So break it down into littler chunks, not necessarily teeny tiny chunks from 1 week to the next, but just know day after day, making smart choices, loving yourself, and sticking to the program within the parameters are going to get you to your goal. So I'm super proud of you. Super proud of you. You're doing awesome. So with that being said, the only thing that we're going to really change is give you the option to do daily 20, 30-minute walks.
So I just wanted to give you kind of an idea of what is involved with my coaching. I really enjoy the psychology of everything and really try to investigate a lot of that so I can apply things to my clients as well as myself, who is someone who is, eating disorder recovery, even with emotional eating and stuff like that, so that's what I wanted to share with that. So I hope it was helpful or insightful, or, I thought there were some good nuggets in there that even kind of set off a light bulb with me. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love coaching is that it's a reflection of me. The people who are going through struggles are either going through what I'm going through, have been through what I'm, going through. There's just a lot of relatability there, and it's a constant self-check with me too about how I'm doing and how I'm managing things, how I'm growing, and that's the goal really, is to grow, because the behavior change, I mean, I have this with several clients. It's not even really about the fact that their bodies need to change. It's that their mindset needs to change. And incorporating healthier behaviors is a win for the mind, and then the body will respond accordingly. So anyways, if this is something that's helpful and you enjoy, it probably won't be this long next time, and I'll find a better way to maybe record while I'm doing a voice note, but maybe once a month or so, if I feel like something is poignant and applicable to the average listener like yourself or watcher, then I will incorporate this. But also, but yeah, so if you have any insight in that or your opinion, I know it probably was grueling to just listen to me talk while I'm just sitting here, but I'll figure out a better way to do it if that's something that you want to see more of. Client voice notes, I guess I would call it, or client tips. I don't know. But anyways, let me know. So with that, I guess remember that healthy looks different on everybody, and I hope you have a really great day.